But I said, if you gave me Mahomes, if you gave me Lamar Jackson with his great legs and Mahomes' great arm, or you gave me Baker Mayfield, who would I want? I would want Baker Mayfield, and the reason why is because Baker Mayfield.
I really think that now this is the worst case scenario for the San Francisco 49ers, is that they're going to have to cut ties with Jimmy Garoppolo if I were them.
What?
Oh my God! Wow, man!
In any event, Kyle Gibson is definitely my NL Cy Young Award winner. Rock on, Gibby.
And even
No
way! Oh my God!
What's up, everyone, and welcome to Sports Weekly. Along with Isaiah Leong, I'm Lauro Antonio. Isaiah, how's it going tonight? We have a brand new background here for Sports Weekly, which I was organizing all these brands here during the free time and all this. So that's how I came up with this.
What's up, man? Great to be on tonight, man. I'm excited. I'm pumped up, ready to go, man. We got playoff football tomorrow. That's very exciting with my Niners kicking it off against those damn Sea Chickens from Seattle, man. I've been looking forward to that for the last 9 years after they kicked our butt in the NFC Championship game in 2013 or 14. That was by far the most painful loss that I've ever experienced as a sports fan. So I'm ready for revenge. I'm ready for redemption, man, and I'm ready to go, man. I don't even want to sleep tonight. I wish the game was in a few hours tonight instead of tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. But I'm ready, man. Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, and the Niners could, like Mike Shanahan assistants, could win back-to-back Super Bowls in consecutive years. One could be McVay and the other could be Kyle Shanahan. The NFC West is kind of this topsy-turvy division, which we will talk about here. But we have to start with the team that I also follow in my neck of the woods, the LA Rams. After days and weeks of rumors and speculation that Sean McVay was going to retire, he announced today that he will be returning to the Rams as their head coach next year. My thoughts on this was, I didn't think he was going to retire. I think he was just mulling it just because, look, he's married now. He wants to start a family. Coaching kind of takes your mind off his toll, because it's a grind to be a head coach and all that. It's a lot of grinding. But you know what? Sean McVay is still relatively young, and Sean McVay loves what he does, which I know that he's not going to retire. I just knew that he wasn't going to retire anytime soon because Sean McVay loves coaching. He's a player's coach. Everybody here in LA, whoever plays for the Rams, loves playing for Coach McVay, and I think that the Rams had a bad year. I didn't think that this was his fault for it, but I do think that next season, I think the Rams are back to being a competitive football team, and they're going to be back to being a playoff contender and potentially make it to another Super Bowl. Isaiah, your thoughts on this? I mean, you thought Sean McVay was going to retire, but I just thought that Sean McVay still can coach for like the next 10 years. I think he can coach well into his 50s or 60s.
I was stunned when I saw the news this morning. I thought that after seeing the report the other day that he had let his assistants go out and interview for other jobs, I thought that was a clear sign that he was done. And I thought that he was going to make an announcement in the next few days that he was going to step away, he was going to retire, he was going to hang up the whistle, and he was going to go into television. And I was really shocked when we got the news from Diana Rossini today that McVay was telling the Rams that he was coming back. I was really shocked. because I 1000% thought he was done. I think that unfortunately this is going to be like a yearly thing where we are always going to ponder McVay's future. Is he going to be back? Is he going to retire? Depending on how the Rams do. But I was really shocked, to be honest with you. McVay, like you mentioned, he's very respected in LA. He is a great head coach, great offensive mind, one of the big innovators of the current day offense. And the Rams, they just got exponentially better by having him come back. But now I'm worried about LA because when you look at the quarterback situation, Matthew Stafford had a kind of multiple concussions. He had a neck injury last year. He was very beat up, and who knows if he will be able to even be cleared to play because of his neck injury. Because neck injuries are very, very serious in the game of football. One hit and you can get paralyzed. So and then if Stafford does get cleared, is he going to play at a high level because he's got so many injuries? He's been so beat up, and that shoulder, that elbow was clearly bothering him this entire year. And there's rumors that Jalen Ramsey wants out. Cooper Kupp's coming off a torn ACL. Laurel, you and I both know that receivers, when they come off a big injury like that, it normally takes them about 2 years to get their feet back under them and to get back to where they once were. Cam Akers wanted out. Aaron Donald, who knows about his future? I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty in LA, but it's certainly a great first step to have Sean McVay come back for the Rams. But they still have many questions left unsolved. And remember, the Rams don't have any draft picks for the next several years, and they are in salary cap hell for the next several years. So the Rams honestly are in a really, really bad situation, and I would not be shocked if McVay steps away in the next couple of years.
And then Chardot says, hi, gentlemen. How are we doing tonight? Isaiah and I are doing well. Chardot, we're looking forward to a great show tonight. But our next topic here involves both Isaiah and Chardot's 49ers. They're meeting up tomorrow at Levi Stadium to kick off the 2023 playoffs. The forecast of that game is calling a potential monsoon weather in the Bay with heavy winds and heavy rain dumping throughout the game. I think this might be a big impact. I think it's going to be good for the run game, but we talked about it on the extra point. You and I, Isaiah, both have San Fran beating Seattle and moving on to the divisional round.
We do. And the question is, for this topic, is the rain going to be a big factor in this game? Of course it's going to be a big factor. That's why I am really scared about this game now for the 49ers. Before I knew about the weather, I was thinking in my mind that, okay, the Niners got this easily, and we're going to run through Seattle. Our defense is going to punish the heck out of them. We're going to get sweet, sweet revenge for what happened back in 2014. But now I'm not so sure. I'm not saying the Seahawks are the favorites. I'm saying that the Seahawks have closed the gap because of the weather. Laurel, like I told you off air, when we were talking, if this game was played in clear, sunny skies at Levi Stadium, the Niners would whoop the Seahawks. We would mop the floor with the Seahawks. But since it's played in the rain now, and it's going to be like very wet, it's going to be raining throughout the game, it's going to be hard to catch passes, catch punts, catch kickoffs with the raindrops coming down in your eyes. And also, the ball's going to be very slippery, so there's going to be, easy chances for fumbles. I'm kind of scared because the Niners, they have the running game. They have a great defense, which you need to win a rain game. But also in a rain game, the scoring is low. Anything can happen. The football can get popped off more easily. So I am kind of scared, I think the Seahawks evened the advantage on the 49ers because of the elements. And I think now it's going to be a more closer game than a lot of people expect. And that worries me as a Niners fan because, one or two plays could determine this game because of the weather. And if it was played on a sunny day, I would have said that the Niners were going to win 80%. Seahawks give them 20% to win. Now it's more like it's 60% to 40%. I'm very, very scared because of this monsoon weather. Remember, the Niners struggled in Chicago with monsoon weather, throwing the football and passing the football. And then against the Colts last year, they struggled again in monsoon weather. So I am really, really scared about the 49ers. And if the Niners get behind, man, I will be panicking because, in a rain game like that, you cannot afford to get behind because you cannot throw the football easily in those conditions.
You're absolutely right. But, I think I'm looking forward to the start of this NFL playoffs, and I'm more excited about the divisional and championship rounds because I always love Super Wild Card Weekend. I mean, it used to be 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, but now that you have an extra playoff spot, that makes it Super Wild Card Weekend, which I am looking forward to. But now, guys, Isaiah and I talked about this off air. We are doing our bracket challenge for Sports Weekly, but we have our picks in when we made our picks for Super Wild Card Weekend, and we talked about who we like playing for next week.
Laurel, since I think a lot of people watching this show didn't get to hear it, we could repeat that again just so the viewers out there know and are not surprised by our picks for the divisional round. We could just go through them really quickly. We don't have to give reasons or anything.
Yeah, like I meant is we're going to go through them very quickly and who we like going all the way because for extra point we will
for the wild card round. You mean for the wild card round? We'll go through them quickly.
Yeah, and then we talk about who do we like in divisional round next week, and then when we talk about the extra point, then we'll have an in-depth preview of it, and then we talk about why we picked these teams to advance to Championship Sunday the following Sunday. So, anyways, here real quickly, we'll start in the NFC bracket. Isaiah, you and I, Isaiah, both have the Niners moving on to divisional round weekend.
I do. I think that the game against the Seahawks is going to be a muddy game. It's going to be a messy game with a lot of turnovers, but I got the Niners winning. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I do have San Francisco winning, and I have San Francisco with Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel running all over Seattle not being able to stop the run, and the Niners defense clamping down on the Seahawks running game, forcing Geno Smith to throw the football and getting a lot of interceptions. So, yeah, give me San Francisco to win.
And who I have San Fran playing, I have them playing Tom Brady and the Bucks. And you, Isaiah, have them playing Dallas.
Yep, I got them playing Dallas. I think that the Cowboys are a better team than the Buccaneers. And unfortunately, Tom Brady's magical run will come to an end on Monday against the Dallas Cowboys.
And I think it's time for Tom Brady to go to Fox, even though I heard reports again about him being a Miami Dolphin, and I'm like, that is not happening.
Well, I've also heard reports about him being a Raider or even potentially joining up with Sean Payton wherever he goes. But if he goes to Denver, there's no way you're going to trade Russell Wilson and his massive contract and get Tom Brady.
Are you talking about Sean Payton going to Denver and you're not trading Russell Wilson for that because you think Sean Payton could really help Russell Wilson get back on track?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Because I've heard rumors that if Sean Payton goes to Denver, that Tom Brady could sign in Denver. But I'm just thinking, how's that going to work? Russell Wilson's got this big contract, and Tom Brady will want a big contract. You're not going to have Russell Wilson.
I think Tom Brady's done. I think he's done in the NFL. I don't think he goes to the Dolphins. I honestly don't want him back in the AFC East playing for the Dolphins. That would make me throw up.
Here's the hot take. If Brock Purdy and the 49ers lose tomorrow and they get knocked out in the first round tomorrow, I could see Brady going to San Francisco for one more run or Aaron Rodgers. That is my hot take. I'm going to put it out there right now, is that if Purdy loses tomorrow, then I think that we're going to see Rodgers or Brady in San Francisco next season.
Next, and then to round out the NFC bracket, we talked about the Vikings and the Giants, and you and I, Isaiah, both had Minnesota losing to the New York Football Giants. I like both coaches. I'll tell you that. Kevin O'Connell, Brian Daboll, both come from the Patriots organization. I think that this is going to be a great game, but I think if you look at it, Isaiah, I think it's going to be a choke moment for Kirk Cousins.
I have never believed in the Vikings all year long. I have never drank the Kool-Aid on them all season long, and I'm not going to do so right now. I think that the Vikings are the biggest frauds in the NFL. Give me Danny Dimes and Big Blue. I don't trust their defense. I think this game is going to be a really good, high-scoring game. And in the end, the Giants' defense will clamp down on the Minnesota Vikings, and we will have a similar moment to that video of that angry man in Minnesota say, "He missed it! He effing missed it! You gotta be kidding me!" I think that Greg Joseph will miss a game-tying field goal to propel the Giants to the win.
Well, yeah, it's going to be one of those type of moments here. And to recap who we like in divisional round weekend, Isaiah, it's going to be the Giants and the Eagles, and then the Bucks, and then Bucks/Cowboys against San Fran. And I say Bucks/Cowboys is because I have Tampa in San Fran, and you have Dallas going there.
Yeah, so I think we both have the same picks for the NFC wild card. For the NFC wild card and for the divisional round, we basically have the same matchups.
Almost. But on the AFC side, to recap it for you, we have the Jaguars beating the Chargers. I have them playing Kansas City. And then I have Buffalo beating Miami, and I think that Miami is probably going to just say goodbye to their season and just wait for Tua to be healthy for next year. That's why I think Buffalo will move on. And the reason why, and then who I have Buffalo playing, Isaiah, is the Cincinnati Bengals, because we didn't get to see that matchup in Week 17 on a Monday night. I want to see a proper matchup between those two.
For me, I got pretty much the same thing, but not for the last matchup. I got the Jaguars upsetting the Chargers. I think Brandon Staley gets fired after this game. I think Trevor Lawrence will go off in this game. The running game is going to be very key for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Jaguars and Duval get their first playoff win in about 6 years. And then in the other AFC matchup, if Lamar Jackson was playing, I probably would have picked Baltimore, but since he's not, I don't believe in Tyler Huntley. I think the Bengals defense will shut down the run. They'll stack the box, making it very hard for Tyler Huntley to pass. I think that the Bengals run away with this game over the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, so in my AFC divisional round matchup here for our bracket challenge here, I got the Jaguars taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And you might like this. I say I'm going to go out on a limb in this matchup. I have Jacksonville pulling the upset in Arrowhead, and we don't have the Chiefs going to the AFC Championship game. Their streak of going to AFC Championship games is going to come to an end, Isaiah. How do you feel about that?
Wow.
I think the Chiefs have done it too much. It's because the Chiefs have done it so many times, and I want a different AFC Championship game matchup. And even though that the Bills and Chiefs, if the Bills and the Chiefs were to play in the AFC Championship game, it would be in that neutral site in Atlanta. And I'm like, do I want to see that? No. I want to see a team play the AFC Championship game in their home stadium to potentially get a win in front of their fans.
Yeah, that is a bold pick. Wow. Okay.
That's where I'm going with it. I have Kansas City not advancing to the AFC Championship game for the first time since 2017 because their streak from 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, their AFC Championship game streak's going to end at 4. And I think it's time.
Great pick. I love it.
And you have Jacksonville playing KC, and you have them knocking off Mahomes.
Well, so we're starting with the AFC side, right? In the
Yeah,
divisional round.
for the divisional round.
Okay, so I have Jacksonville playing the Chiefs, just like you. And you know what? I am gonna go on that wagon just like you. Give me Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars to go into Arrowhead and pull off one of the biggest upsets in NFL playoff history. I think Trevor Lawrence, I don't trust that Chiefs defense. If they can't get after uh Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be a long day because their secondary sucks. Their linebackers are always running around looking like a bunch of guys that are lost out there. Give me the Jaguars. You know, Doug Peterson and Andy Reid, they know each other very, very well. So you know what Doug knows how to scheme up against Doug Peterson and Steve Spagnuolo's defense. Andy Reid knows the same. Both coaches are going to have like magical plays up their sleeves. And I just think that in the end, it's going to be a high-scoring shootout. I think this game's going to be kind of like the Bills-Chiefs game. It's going to come down to the wire, and I think that this Jags magic just continues, and Trevor Lawrence makes enough plays in the end, leads his team down the field, and the Jaguars kicker to kick a game-winning field goal and shock the world and knock out the Chiefs.
You talking about Patterson, the kicker?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think the Jaguars win on a game-winning field goal.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that way too. And then and then I have Jacksonville going to the AFC Championship game, but they're not going to have a home game. I have the Bengals are playing the Bills. It would be so nice, Isaiah, if it was Lawrence versus Burrow in the AFC Championship game. I would have loved that matchup, but I have to go with the Bills, to be honest with you, because the Bills are the better team over Cincy. I trust Buffalo's defense over the Bengals defense, and that Buffalo defense is going to get to Burrow because of how bad that offensive line is. But in the way I see the Bills beating the Bengals beating the Bills, it's their offense. If it's Joe Burrow throwing dimes to Jamar Chase and Evan McPherson kicking game-winning field goals. So for my AFC Championship game pick, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars playing the Buffalo Bills. Although, don't be shocked if it was Lawrence versus Burrow, which I wouldn't mind at all.
So for my AFC Championship game pick, I'm trying to think. Who did I have?
Isaiah, so I have my AFC Championship game is Buffalo and Jacksonville.
Buffalo and Jacksonville. Okay. I had the Bills and the Bengals too, right? If I'm not mistaken.
The Bills are playing the Bengals in Buffalo for the divisional round, and I definitely want to see that matchup because we didn't get to see that matchup in Cincinnati because of this whole DeMar Hamlin situation.
Yeah, and prayers go up to him. It's so great to see that. He's doing very well, and he is looking like he's on the mend towards recovery. For me, Bills versus Bengals. I think this game is going to be similar to the Jaguars-Chiefs game. It's going to be a high-scoring shootout. Both teams will score into the 30s. And it's going to come down to the wire again. And give me, you know what? I'm going to go with it. It's not going to be Josh Allen and the Bills. It's going to be Joe Burrow and the Bengals pulling the upset over the Bills. I think that this Bills team, they're really good on offense with Josh Allen and all the weapons that he's got, but I don't trust their defense. That's the one thing I don't trust.
Well, because the Bills' defense, they've been stepping up in Von Miller's absence. Like, you talk about Rousseau, who I think has been an unsung hero. He's stepped up very well. Micah Hyde is out for the year with a neck injury. That's a huge blow. That's a huge blow to the secondary. Having Tre'Davious White back is good, but the Bills probably need more than that.
Yeah, that's why I'm picking against the Bills, because I think that Burrow will go crazy against this Bills secondary. I think he'll go wild against them. And then it's just going to come down to the final possession. And I think the Bengals have it, and they drive down the field, and then Evan McPherson shows why he's one of the clutchest kickers in all of football, kicks a game-winning field goal to send the Bengals to the AFC Championship game. So give me the Bengals and give me the Jags. Joe Burrow, number 1 pick 2019 versus Trevor Lawrence.
Talking about 2020, 2021.
Yes, 2020 number 1 pick versus 2021 number 1 pick. It's going to be sweet and it's going to be nice.
That's going to be your scenario, but my scenario is different than yours. Although I'll tell you, it would be nice for me if it's Jags and Bengals. But if that were the AFC Championship game, Isaiah, honestly, get back to me when that gets closer, because I'm going to have a hard time deciding on who I like in this championship, in this AFC Championship game. Get back to me on that if that were the AFC Championship game. But if that were to happen, maybe I might go Jacksonville. Who knows? But honestly, if it's Jags and Bengals, then that wouldn't surprise me. But I kind of want Buffalo just because they're playing with a heavy heart. They're playing for DeMar Hamlin, and I know that the Bills want to get to the Super Bowl, which I think their fans deserve.
Sorry about that. I was muted, but yeah.
I was saying that it's going to be good for the city of Buffalo.
It will be. It will be.
Because the people in Western New York love their Bills, and they love Buffalo Bill football, and they love Josh Allen. They love Diggs. They think that this team is on another level. Because I remember this team used to be the laughingstock, but I would think that if the Bills win the Super Bowl, I would be like, it would be great for the city of Buffalo.
Yeah, yeah.
But you, on your other hand, you kind of think that the Bills are not healthy defensively.
I don't trust their defense. That's the one thing. The Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniels exposed their defense a couple of weeks ago, and the Patriots kind of did the same thing. So you could score on the Bills' defense. It's not impossible to score against them. Yeah,
but the Bills have a really good defense. So you got Bengals, Jags, and I got Bills, Jags. Now for the NFC side on the divisional round, I have San Fran beating either Tampa or Dallas.
Who do you have?
I have San Fran advancing to the NFC Championship game for a second year in a row.
Okay, so you have San Fran advancing over you had Tampa, right?
Yeah, over Brady and the Bucs, because I think the Bucs offense is going to get exposed by that Niners offense, and the Niners, and I have them going on the road, and they will play Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game, because I have Philly beating New York. Even if New York wins, then if New York wins, if the Giants beat the Eagles in the divisional round, then the Niners would host it.
For me, my matchup is Niners-Cowboys, right then?
Yeah, for the divisional round. That matchup could mean if you guys get eliminated, then we could potentially see another Cowboys-Giants NFC Championship game, but I don't think that's going to happen. That's a long shot of happening.
So I got Niners-Cowboys. Okay. I got Niners-Cowboys. This is going to be a classic game. It's going to be Joe Montana to Dwight Clark 2.0. But this time it's going to be Brock Purdy to George Kittle. That is going to be the final play. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be like the Bills and the Bengals and the Jags and the Chiefs. It's going to come out of the wire, and Brock Purdy will compound his magic. And with 16 seconds left in the game, I think that Brock Purdy will roll to his right and fire a dart to George Kittle in the back of the end zone. Touchdown. Niners win, and Niners stun the Cowboys in a back-and-forth game. Give me San Francisco to advance to the NFC Championship. I got San Francisco beating the Cowboys at Levi's by the final score of, I'm going to say, 34-30. 34-31. I'm going to go with that. 34-31. Final score. And then, so I got the Niners advancing to the NFC Championship. And then on the other hand, Eagles versus Giants. And Laurel,
Well,
I got
I have the Eagles and I have San Fran going to Philadelphia for the NFC Championship game.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Give me Big Blue in an upset.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
Yes, give me Big Blue and Danny Dimes in an upset. I think they go to the NFC Championship game because here's the thing. Divisional opponents, when they always play each other, they know each other's strengths and their weaknesses. And the Eagles have played the Giants twice this season, and the Eagles have won both of their matchups. And remember, beating a team 3 times in 1 year, it's very, very tough. And you know Brian Daboll and the Giants are going to make adjustments. You know Nick Sirianni and the Eagles are going to make their adjustments. And I just don't believe Jalen Hurts is playing hurt right now. He's playing with a hurt shoulder. He's not 100%. And we saw what happened last time around when the Giants played the Eagles in the final week. Jalen Hurts was not 100%. They almost lost to Davis Webb and the Giants, who were playing their backups in that game. They should have won that game by like 20, but instead they won by 6, and the Giants nearly had the ball back with about 30-40 seconds left to try to win the game. That's how close it was, and it was in Philly. The Giants do not fear Philly playing in Philly. They don't fear Philly at all. I think that this Giants defense is very underrated. I think they're able to contain Jalen Hurts and this high-powered Philly attack, and I think we're going to have kind of a low-scoring game. Give me Daniel Jones and Big Blue to pull off one of the biggest upsets in NFL history and beat the Eagles and knock them out in the divisional round. I got the Giants winning. I think it's going to be like a 21-17 football game.
Well, let me tell you who won the Super Bowl 57 down in the desert. On the AFC side, I have Buffalo beating Jacksonville by a game-winning field goal by Tyler Bass. And I think I would love to see Trevor Lawrence versus Josh Allen go head-to-head. And then Josh Allen's going to go to the Super Bowl. And then who I have the Bills playing is Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles.
So, Laurel's got I'm guessing you got the Bills over the Jags, right?
Yes, Bills over Jacksonville. And then the Eagles over San Francisco.
All right. So for me, my AFC Championship, Laurel, remind me if I'm correct. It's the Jags and the Bengals, right? That's
It's Lawrence versus Burrow, kind of like 2019 all over again in college football terms, you know?
And would this be at a neutral site or would this be in Cincy?
That's going to be in Cincy.
Okay, so it's going to be in Cincy.
It's going to be in the jungle. It's going to be cold, but the Bengals won. If you picture this, the Bengals won in Kansas City, but it's going to be really, really loud in the jungle.
I'm torn. I'm so torn right now. Oh.
No problem.
Give me the Jags.
Oh man.
There's something about this Jags team, Laurel. They're hot at the right time. And we all know that these teams that are hot at the right time, it doesn't matter if you're like the most talented team. The team that's hot at the right time will always win. And Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, you know Trevor Lawrence wants revenge on Joe Burrow for what happened in the 2019 the College Football National Championship game. And you know, both of these two offenses are humming right now. I think it's going to be an offensive type of a game. Both of these two defenses are not really that reliable. Give me the Jags to go into Cincy, pull off the upset, and go to Super Bowl 57 in Glendale, Arizona. I mean, when I made the pick that they would win the AFC South, I could not imagine that I would pick them to go to the Super Bowl. But Trevor Lawrence is a stud. Doug Peterson is a top 5 coach in the NFL. Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, they've proven to be a really good wide receiving corps. And that defense is underrated. They have Josh Allen there. They have the Josh Allen defensive end, not the Josh Allen quarterback. They also have, a lot of, they have Trayvon Walker, who's
they don't have. But if you talk about the Jags, they don't have Calvin Ridley yet. But when he comes back from suspension, oh my God, that offense is going to be something.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. It'll be even better.
Now that you have a number one receiver for Lawrence, but I do think that having ETN is a good thing for Jacksonville. I think ETN is now an important piece to that offense now.
Yes. And so give me the Jags. I think that they're going to win this game over the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. It's going to be the Bengals defense that will come back to bite them in the butt. Give me Jacksonville 31-28 over the Bengals. And in the NFC side, Giants versus Niners, Laura.
Oh man. God. The two teams that, if you talk about it, you wanted the New York Football Giants to win the NFC East because of the coaching, right? Not because of quarterback play. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. I was muted. I wanted Big Blue to win the NFC East, and I picked the Niners to win the NFC West, and I'll have both of them in the NFC Championship game. I'm going to go with the Niners. I think the Niners stop the Giants. I think that the Niners are more talented than the Giants. I think they give Daniel Jones hell when the Giants are on offense. The defense shuts them down. And I think San Francisco runs away with that NFC Championship game just like the Niners did, or just like the Patriots did against the Colts a few years back. So, Lauro, I got the craziest Super Bowl ever. The Jaguars representing the AFC and the Niners and Brock Purdy representing the NFC. Brock Purdy versus Trevor Lawrence in the Super Bowl. Let's go.
For me, I have Josh Allen versus Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl. And I say that because the reason why I have the Bills going to the Super Bowl is because I want them to lose. So give me the Philadelphia Eagles to win their second Super Bowl in franchise history. And my Super Bowl MVP is going to be Jalen Hurts.
Wow. Okay. So you got the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. For me, I got the wildest Super Bowl prediction ever. And if Ben was on the show, Ben and probably Casey King, if he was on the show, and James Gonzalez, they would walk off the set, never come back. I got 49ers versus Jaguars. And if Laurel, you could do this for me, you could if you could write our Super Bowl matchup prediction and Super Bowl prediction in the comment section, just so we can remember it for the future. That would be great. 49ers versus Jacksonville in Glendale, Arizona. I'm going to take my 49ers fandom out of this, and I am going to just pick this game neutrally.
You have Jags Niners?
I have Jags Niners, yeah. Give me San Francisco. The Jags are good. It's going to be a very competitive game between Brock Purdy and the Niners versus Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. But I think that the Jags are a year or two away from being really, really scary. They're going to make the Super Bowl, but they're going to be like the Bengals, where they have some weapons, but not enough. And I think the Niners have more weapons. They have a dominant defense. I don't think the Jags offense will be able to put up a lot of points against this Niners defense. I think they'll be able to put up like 20, but that's about it. But this Jacksonville defense doesn't really scare me a lot. I think that Brock Purdy, all he just has to do is play mistake-free football. And they just got to run the football. I think McCaffrey dominates in this game. I think that Elijah Mitchell dominates as well. I think Purdy just does enough to win the game. Give me the 49ers and their third string quarterback, Brock Purdy, to win Super Bowl 57 and hoist the Lombardi Trophy for the sixth time in franchise history. And for my Super Bowl MVP, Laurel, I don't know if we're doing that right now.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, we are? Okay.
Go
I'm
ahead.
going to go
Jalen Hurts as my Super Bowl MVP.
You did. Okay. For my Super Bowl MVP, I got the Niners winning the game. I'm going to go Niners 33-21. And for my Super Bowl MVP, I'm going to agree with what you had on your Madden league. I am going with Christian McCaffrey as my MVP. I think he goes wild in that game. I don't think the Jags are able to stop Christian McCaffrey in that game, and he goes wild. I think he runs for over 150 yards and a couple of touchdowns and eases the burden of Brock Purdy, and he takes home Super Bowl MVP, and that will complete one of the greatest midseason trades in NFL history.
It will, but remember those picks because we have Extra Point on Tuesday, and we will preview divisional round, and it could come true or it could not because the divisional round could be different than what we've had. So you never know. So just to be aware of that, and then we'll talk about from there who we like playing next week. So. Anyways, here, back to the playoffs here. Which QB in the wild card round this weekend is under the most pressure coming through for his team? For me, I'm going to go Justin Herbert of the Chargers because, look, no Mike Williams. You have Keenan Allen, but Keenan Allen just washed up and old. But that's why I think Justin Herbert's under pressure in his first career playoff appearance.
For me, I am going to go with Dak Prescott because I think that Mike McCarthy's job as head coach of the Cowboys is riding on the shoulders of Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott struggles mightily, throw 3-4 interceptions in that game, and the Cowboys lose, Mike McCarthy will be out the door on Tuesday morning, and the Cowboys will need to find a new head coach. Dak Prescott has got to come through. Dak Prescott needs to play well for the Dallas Cowboys to win this football game, and he should play well because the Buccaneers defense is good, but they're not great. So Dak Prescott for me, I think, and I think Christy Wilson will probably agree with me on that, but I think that Dak Prescott is under the most pressure, in my opinion, to come through and perform for his team in the wild card round.
It's a make or break game for the Cowboys because, like Jim Irsay, Jerry Jones is one of the most impatient owners that I've ever seen, and sometimes he just likes to make headlines. I call Jerry Jones, Isaiah, the most controversial owner in NFL history.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would not be shocked if Mike McCarthy, they lose. I think Mike McCarthy's guaranteed out the door and fired on Tuesday morning.
You're absolutely right. But now, with that being said here, now we talk about we go to my team, the New England Patriots. They announced Thursday afternoon they are in discussions with their highly talented linebacker coach Jerod Mayo on a new contract that will keep him in New England for long term, and maybe potentially from what I think is that assuming that this contract gets done with Jerod Mayo, he's kind of the guy in the wings for under Bill Belichick. Like whenever Bill Belichick retires, I really could expect Jerod Mayo to take over at the helm as our next head coach, because he knows the Patriot way. He's won Super Bowls with us. He's a great player when he was a player for us. And I think Bill Belichick is grooming Jerod Mayo slowly to potentially be his successor. That's what I think from this. But most importantly, they will begin interviews for a new offensive coordinator next week. You know, Isaiah, let me tell you, I would not mind Cliff Kingsbury coming to New England because he was drafted there. I think he could implement an offense that's going to be good for Mac Jones because Cliff Kingsbury runs an air raid offense. It worked in Arizona, but Cliff Kingsbury can run that air raid West Coast offense in New England for Mac Jones, which I think that would be beneficial because Cliff Kingsbury comes from this Mike Leach coaching tree that involves the air raid offense. And I would not mind that at all if Cliff Kingsbury is our offensive coordinator or maybe our quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator. I could see him in either role, but really I'm going to go with Bill O'Brien as our offensive coordinator, and then I go Cliff Kingsbury as our passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is about damn time that the Patriots made this move. Matt Patricia and Joe Judge should have never, ever, ever, ever be handed the keys to run the offense from the beginning. I thought it was a terrible move from the beginning. And I'm not surprised that the Patriots offense struggled because Matt Patricia has never coached the offense in his life. Joe Judge has never coached the offense in his life. So you put two guys that's never coached the offense in their lives to go coach offense now. I mean, of course it's going to struggle. So I'm not surprised whatsoever. It's about time. Me, you, and Ben have been saying it for the whole year that Matt Patricia and Joe Judge needed to go. I thought the Patriots should have gone with Bailey Zappi to finish the season. You thought that they should have gone with Mac Jones. We disagreed on that. But we all knew that the main problem was not the quarterback. It was Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. So I'm not surprised that he's gone. I think that if Bill Belichick insisted that Patricia and Judge be kept on as offensive coordinator, I think Robert Kraft should have fired him because, you would be sabotaging your football team. You wouldn't be giving your team a good chance to win. But now that he's moving them back to somewhere else, probably reassigning Patricia to maybe defensive line coach.
Or linebackers.
Or linebackers, yeah. Or Judge could be the special teams coach.
Yeah, because I don't really think Cam McCord is that good. I'm done with him.
Well, I think that regardless, moving those two back is a good move for the Patriots and Bill Belichick. And it's a good move for Mac Jones because now you get an offensive coordinator who actually knows football, who actually coaches offense, and he will be able to properly develop Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi, whomever the Patriots choose as their quarterback. It will benefit them. And I think that Mac Jones should be running up and down his street and just screaming in joy because now he's actually going to be able to develop and he's actually going to prove why the Patriots selected him in the first round. And as far as who should be their offensive coordinator, I think that Bill O'Brien makes a lot of sense because he worked with Mac Jones at Alabama and Mac Jones had a lot of success.
No, he didn't work together in Alabama. Bill O'Brien came to Alabama in 21 after he got fired from Houston.
Right, but he also knows the Alabama offense, and he knows what makes Mac Jones have a lot of success. And I think that, if they go back to that Bama offense, I think it will make Mac Jones have a lot of success with the Patriots because he's very comfortable in it. And also another guy that should be offensive.
I said Cliff Kingsbury because Cliff Kingsbury played for the Patriots.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury could also work, but
he runs an air raid offense.
That's the problem. I don't think that Bill Belichick wants to run the air raid. I think he wants to run the Patriots offense that he's ran for the last 20 years. He's been head coach with Tom Brady. So I don't know if he would want to run the air raid. I think the air raid would be very good because it's a very quarterback-friendly offense. And also Cliff Kingsbury, he gets the best out of quarterbacks. So I think that would also be a good fit. But I just don't know how if Bill Belichick would want to move to the air raid offense. And here's another one. Loro, you might call me crazy for this. I know he's a head coach right now in college football. Steve Sarkisian. I would do it. I would pony up the money and try to get him away from Texas. I don't know if he'll be able to, if he will want to go to the NFL and be an offensive coordinator and leave the Texas Longhorns, but I would do it because Mac Jones worked with Steve Sarkisian and they put up the best offense in college football history. So it makes a lot of sense. And, Sarkisian, he probably one day wants to coach in the NFL. I just think it makes a lot of sense. But the problem is, I don't know if he'd be willing to leave Texas and as the head coach.
I think Sarkisian is better off as a head coach where he's at right now. But for me, I'm picking Bill O'Brien as offensive coordinator and then Cliff Kingsbury being the pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach, meaning that he won't call plays. He's going to help Bill O'Brien with the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think O'Brien's number one. And then number two, I just don't see that Belichick wants to run the air raid. That's the issue that I don't think Belichick wants. But he could also bring in Rams quarterback coach Zach Robinson back to New England as our quarterbacks coach. Also, don't rule out Mike LaFleur because remember, Belichick in the offseason, they switched to a zone blocking scheme, which is the Shanahan style blocking scheme. So if he wants to run the Shanahan offense, well, Mike LaFleur is available, and Mike LaFleur is one of the brightest young offensive minds out there. So never should have gotten fired by the Jets. Agreed. That was not Robert Saleh did not want to fire him. It was Woody Johnson that did this. Totally agree with that. So that's my thinking there. But now we got to talk about the Denver Broncos. I picked Dan Quinn as the head coach of the Broncos. You picked Sean Payton, right? I picked Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh. That was my pick. But I'm going to go with Payton. I think that's what I picked on Monday or on Tuesday. Yeah, but the Broncos, however, did another part of their homework. They are interviewing former Stanford head coach David Shaw on Wednesday for their vacant head coaching job. So I'll tell you, David Shaw, you said that his coaching style would really work for the NFL than it would be in college. So he's probably a plan C if they fail for Harbaugh and Payton. My thoughts on this is that, number one, why isn't any other NFL team trying to interview David Shaw? This guy he was a multiple-time Pac-12 champion. He won a couple of Rose Bowls. He's a winner. And, yeah, his time at Stanford didn't end well, but I think his style fits better in the NFL than it does in college football because he would actually have great talent to work with. At Stanford, he had terrible talent to work with, especially at the end, because nobody wants to go to Stanford because, Stanford, there's a lot of big academic requirements, and it's really hard to get in. So for David Shaw, I think that the reason why his last few years in Stanford wasn't good was because his voice just reached the ceiling, and also because he just wasn't getting the talent that he was used to getting. So I think he would fit better in the NFL. His scheme obviously would fit better in the NFL. I think he needs to kind of modernize his offensive scheme, but I think that he would be a good head coach in the NFL. I think the Cardinals should be calling him. I think the Texans should be calling him. I think the Colts should be calling him, as well as the Carolina Panthers. I think all the teams that have head coaching vacancies, they all should be calling David Shaw to be their head football coach. I think that this guy's a really good football coach, and I think that a team that names him their head coach would be really happy. But for the Broncos, I think he should be like third on their list. If you can't get Sean Payton, if you can't get Jim Harbaugh, then you hire David Shaw. But you don't hire David Shaw over Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh. Sean Payton is a Super Bowl champion, one of the best offensive minds in the game. He's your top target. Jim Harbaugh, he went 44-19-1 with the 49ers. He should be your second target. And he also made it to the Super Bowl as well. Those two should be your top targets. Shouldn't be David Shaw. He should be third on your list. If you can't get Payton, if you can't get Harbaugh, you go get David Shaw or Dan Quinn, one of those two. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. But now, folks,
we talk about the Saints. So they announced that head coach Dennis Allen will be back for 23. I don't think the Saints are going to give up on him because, look, I think they see something in Dennis Allen that will make him successful. But this past season, it wasn't the season that we all anticipated for the Saints.
No, it wasn't. But I don't think he should have gotten fired this year. I think that they have to give him another year because their quarterback situation was awful this entire year. But if he doesn't do well next year, then I think he should be fired because you inherited a loaded team. So there's no excuse for you not to be able to even make the playoffs as a wild card team and either make the playoffs or have a winning record. That's should be the expectation for Dennis Allen. If he doesn't do that, I think he should be gone. The defense was not that good in the beginning. They struggled, but they really picked it up towards the end of the season. So he at least gets another year, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, he is. So, as we know, we talked about Damar Hamlin, his update. You said that we are very happy that he is back home, but I'll tell you, if you talk about Dennis Allen here, if you talk about my head coaches on the hot seat heading into next NFL season, he is on my list for this.
Dennis Allen, Todd Bowles, if Brady comes back, let's say Brady comes back, they don't win the Super Bowl this year, they don't even go to the NFC Championship, and they finish with another losing record, I think Todd Bowles is definitely on the hot seat. Who else is on the hot seat?
I put Robert Saleh on there just in case.
Yeah. Rob, Woody Johnson's hungry to make the playoffs, so obviously.
Yes, I know I like Robert Saleh as a good head coach. I mean, Robert Saleh is a good leader of men, but I put him on the hot seat because Woody Johnson is impatient, and I have a feeling that if he doesn't make the playoffs in his third year as the head coach of the Jets,
right,
Robert Saleh is going to get scapegoated.
Roro, I know you don't want to hear this, but Mike McDaniel is another one. Because Stephen Ross wants to get Jim Harbaugh. He's tried for Harbaugh 4 times already. So,
look, Mike McDaniel's not going to get fired after their playoff game if the Dolphins lose to Buffalo.
I don't think he will, but if next season, let's say they don't make the playoffs, he's going after Harbaugh. He's getting older now, and he's going to want Harbaugh. He wants Harbaugh to be his coach eventually.
Look, I still think that, if you talk about the Dolphins, I still believe in Tua as the quarterback.
I don't know if Tua's even going to be back. I have a feeling Tua might retire after all the concussions that he suffered this year, like 3 or 4 already. That's really scary, and especially after the Damar Hamlin situation, I don't know if Tua comes back, if I'm being honest with you.
We'll have to see about that, but I do think the Dolphins will get a good quarterback in the offseason. I don't think it's going to be Brady or Rodgers at some point.
Rodgers is interesting.
No, I don't think they go Rodgers, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's going to be interesting for sure. If Rodgers does in fact become available.
Yeah, so you're saying is that the Dolphins might go with Jimmy G or somewhere amongst those lines, or even maybe Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Or Lamar could be available. That's another one, too. Don't forget about him.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson. So for my hot seat coaches for heading into next year, it's McDaniels, Saleh, Rivera, Bowles, Allen, and also Mike Vrabel.
Rivera is the one that I truly forgot. He's definitely on the hot seat next season. I'm trying to think of McDaniels is another one. That's another one.
Mike McDaniel. I was talking about Josh McDaniels. I don't think Mike McDaniel's in hot water in year 2.
Well, I think Josh McDaniels is definitely. I got to add him to the list. For me, I'm going to put Mike McDaniel on my list because I know the owner wants to get Jim Harbaugh, and you can never count that out. And Robert Saleh, that's another one. Because the Jets owner, he does a lot of stupid stuff as well.
Stephen Ross is also stupid as well.
That's why I'm not surprised if he fires Mike McDaniel, because he wants Harbaugh. That's his ultimate guy he wants.
Yeah, because they both went to Michigan, and Stephen Ross would like that. But anyways,
Yep.
here now we got to talk about some basketball here. The Lakers, however, they played hard last night, but the refs just robbed the Lakers in this game as the Mavericks beat the Lakers 119-115. My thoughts on this: the Lakers played hard, but they should have won. I know the refs robbed us of it, but the Lakers, this was a game that they should have had.
Loro, I am about done watching the NBA after the garbage that we watched last night. That was awful refereeing by those referees. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves, and they should have their referee credentials taken away, because that was a disgrace. I mean, I wish we had the replay of what happened on that final shot to end regulation by Troy Brown Jr. If we could pull that up, that would be good. But I mean, you gotta be kidding me, man! Like that was the most obvious foul I've ever seen in my life, and somehow it didn't get called. Oh, we have it right here. Here's the video of the Troy Brown shot.
Oh. Ooh. Wow. I don't know. Close. I don't know.
That was a foul. Like I don't understand. Like, let's watch it again.
Oh. Ooh. Wow. I don't know. Close. I don't know.
He clearly slapped his hand and touched his fingers. Like, how is that not a foul? You know, in the rule book, when you slap the hand of the guy and you touch his fingers, like you can see on the replay, his finger, the Mavericks defender, his hand, Hardaway Jr., his fingers come in and they brush his fingers back. Like, that's clearly a foul. He obstructed the shooter. The Lakers got robbed in that game. The Lakers should have won. That game should have never went into overtime or even double overtime. The Lakers should have won that game in regulation. There should have been 3 free throws for Troy Brown Jr., and I guarantee you he would have at least have knocked down at least one of them, and the Lakers would have won because there would have been no time left. So that should have been a foul. The Lakers got robbed. This game was rigged. There was so many fouls all over the place. I know people are going to come at me and say, Isaiah, you can't blame the refs because, you know, there's other plays that lost you guys the game. No, there isn't. The Lakers and Mavs both played their hearts out. It came down to the final possession of that game. Forget the first and the second overtime. We're not even having the first and second overtime if this play, that play that we just showed, is called a foul. When the guy clearly slaps him in the hand and the fingers brush Troy Brown Jr.'s fingers back. It makes no sense. Like, we've seen that called 99.9% of the time, and for some reason it's not called there. Like, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I just don't understand why that was not called a foul. LeBron James and the Lakers, they need to submit that for an investigation, because I guarantee you 99.9999% of the time that's always called a foul, and it was so obvious on replay when the guy fingers Hardaway Jr., his hand slaps Troy Brown Jr. Like, that is a foul. It's a textbook foul, and they didn't call it. It was an absolute disgrace. The Lakers got robbed, but in overtime, man, you know, you can't leave Luka Doncic. You know, you got to double him. You got to double or triple him. That's the Mavericks superstar. That's the guy that they run their offense through. Like, it was a hell of a shot by Luka, but in that situation, when he's trying to take that final shot, when you're up by 3, you got to double him. You got to make anybody but Luka beat you. If Hardaway Jr. beats you, if Davis Bertans beats you, if Dwight Powell beats you, fine, good for them. But you cannot have Luka Doncic beat you, and the Lakers let Luka Doncic beat them. And LeBron's final shot in the second overtime, what are you doing, man? Like, you're down by 3. You're down by 3 with like 20-some seconds left. If you just drive to the rim, bully your way to the rim, get a 2, you can foul and then get another shot. You don't have to take an off-balance 3. Like, that was the shot that, like, ended the game for the Lakers, because once that shot airballed, or clanked the front rim, it was over. You know, the Lakers, you didn't have to get a 3 in that situation. So it was a great battle, great game by both these two teams, but the refs, they screwed up, and they really, really, really screwed the Lakers out of what would have been a very impressive win.
That could have been, but the Lakers right now, luckily, they're still in play for the play-in tournament. But if they keep losing, I really think that the season might be over by the time we hit the All-Star break. Looking at the upcoming schedule for the Lakers, they have the Philadelphia 76ers on Sunday. And the Sixers are a good team. Then they have Houston. They have a back-to-back at home. And then they play the Kings on Wednesday night at home. That's probably not going to be easy because you know how good Sacramento is. And then to end next week, they play the Memphis Grizzlies. And, man, the Grizzlies are pretty good. I'll tell you that. As Isaiah leaves the set here or something like that, he said something like he needs to grab water right now, but we will have him back here. But my thoughts on the Lakers, if their upcoming schedule coming up, it's tough. I mean, the Sixers are good. You're placing pretty much good teams pretty much all week next week for the Lakers. But the Lakers, their only easy game is the Houston Rockets. And the Houston Rockets, they're a team that the Lakers need to beat. But if they don't beat them, then I don't know what to say because the Lakers have lost to bad teams pretty much all season. The last time the Lakers played the Sixers was back on December 9th, and they could lose the season series with the Philadelphia 76ers. But talking about this, Isaiah, if we have you back on here, this week coming up for the Lakers, with the exception for the Rockets, those are teams that the Lakers are facing are winning teams that they're probably going to get blown out by. But Houston, they got to beat Houston.
The Lakers have to beat Houston. You're absolutely correct. But I think that the Lakers just need to continue to just tread water and stay at 500 or like close to 500. Because if they can, at the end of January, still be like 1 game below 500, 2 games below 500, or maybe even at 500, I think we're in a good position to make the play-in tournament. Because, Laurel, if you look at the Western Conference right now, it's very, very weak. There's a lot of from like number 4 all the way to number 13, where the Lakers are at right now. The Lakers are only separated by 5 games. You know, the Lakers could go on a win streak once AD comes back, and teams like the Kings, I think they're going to fall off. The Jazz are going to continue to fall off. Minnesota is going to continue to suck. The Thunder, we'll see what happens with them. The Blazers are falling off. I mean, the Lakers, if they go on a quick win, like 4 or 5 game win streak, they could easily go from 13 all the way up to like number 7 or 8 because of how loaded and how like weak the West is this year. They're only 2 games back of the 7th seed and the 6th seed, so they could easily get into the playoffs with how a lot of these teams are struggling. Even the Warriors are struggling right now. So if the Lakers can
Phoenix, you don't forget about Phoenix. I don't know what's wrong with the Phoenix Suns right now.
It's because Devin Booker's not healthy. That's why. And I told y'all that when Devin Booker got hurt, I was like, this is going to hurt the Suns because, you know, he's out for more than a month. Do you even
fire Monty Williams for this? It's not really his fault.
No, you don't fire him for that. But, I mean, I think with Booker.
Like, who does Phoenix have besides Booker? Think Ayton? CP3? CP3?
Well, CP3 is hurt, and this is why, like, I think that Booker should not have played against the Nuggets because he was coming back against the Nuggets, and on Christmas Day. I know you wanted to play because it's Christmas Day, but guess what? He was coming back from that groin injury, and he wasn't fully back. He wasn't fully healthy, and he comes back and he hurts himself again. So, I think that the Suns are in trouble right now. But back to the Lakers. The Lakers, I think that if they could just tread water for right now, and then let's say at the end of January, the Lakers are sitting there like 1 game below 500, 3 games below 500, or even 2 games below 500, or even at 500. I think that the Lakers will be fine, but they need to make some trades, obviously. They need to make some trades at the deadline, and if they could do that, I think they'll be in the play-in tournament and possibly even in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. The Lakers, this is a make or break month. I think February is going to determine that too for the Lakers. If you look at their schedule in February, it looks pretty tough. I mean, you have to play the Pelicans, who are really good. The Warriors, we'll see where they are at. But I think if you look at if there's more injuries to the Western Conference, it might get easier for them in March or April.
Well, they also need to make some trades. That's the biggest thing. If they make some trades, then I think that the Lakers will be good. But it all depends on what Rob Pelinka and the front office does at the deadline. Because if you stand pat and you don't do anything, this team is not going to make the playoffs with how they're set right now. If you need to get another shooter, you need to possibly trade Damian Jones or get rid of him, get another big man. February 9th is the deadline. It's only a month away. If LA does something, maybe get Kyle Kuzma back, who knows, then I think the Lakers, if they can make a couple moves at the deadline, I think that the Lakers will be going to the playoffs this year. But if they don't do anything, they're not going at all.
We'll see what Pelinka does, but because I think if they don't make a trade, I think they're just building on what Russell Westbrook's free agent value.
Yeah, and it's gonna be if they don't make a trade and they just do that, then the Lakers are waving the white flag on another season.
Well, we go to the Bulls and Thunder game. That was a disappointing loss for the Chicago Bulls. This team was once a playoff team, but they have taken a huge step back. And they are 19-24 with all the talent that they have in the world with DeRozan and Levine, Vucevic, and you name it. This is a Bulls team that is very talented on paper.
Yes, they are.
Should Billy Donovan be on the hot seat given the major disappointment that the Bills have had this season? For me, I'm going to say yes. I like Billy. I think Billy Donovan is a great head coach. I mean, he's great at coaching basketball, but he is largely responsible for this mess.
I disagree. I don't think he should be on the hot seat because I think the reason why the Bulls have struggled, it's because the front office put together a roster that is terrible. Levine and DeRozan don't fit. I mean, they both need the ball in their hands to have success. And I just think that at the end of the day, I think you're going to have to trade one of those two. I think DeRozan or Levine will have to be gone because I think that they just don't fit together and they don't work well together. And if you do that and then Lonzo Ball comes back healthy, I think that the Bulls will be better and I think they'll be back to their winning ways. But right now, I think with how the roster is constructed, I think that firing Billy Donovan would be a scapegoat move. It wouldn't solve anything because
I don't think it's going to solve anything if Billy Donovan gets fired. I take that back. I think it's not really his fault. I think you got to do something to improve the roster. I know that the Bulls have a talented roster on paper.
Well, you have to split up DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. One of those two has got to be traded at the deadline. Both.
Who do you split up with if you were the Bulls? For me, I'm going to go DeRozan. I think he gets traded over LaVine.
Well, but LaVine, you could get a lot more back for. Like, you get a lot of draft picks, a lot of stuff back. So I don't know. Like, it's really tough. I'm probably gonna say I think DeRozan because he's older. I think that you could build around LaVine, and I think you could have LaVine be the guy to help you win moving forward. But with DeRozan, he's older and it's tough. But I think that DeRozan definitely, um, for him, it's kind of tough because you don't really like you're gonna get some stuff back, but Levine has more value. So I don't know. I think DeRozan because he's older.
Yeah, I'm going to go with DeRozan getting traded. And I say that because I think that if you look at it, I really think that the Bulls can still win with Zach LaVine.
Well, hey, if I'm a Lakers fan, man, and Zach LaVine's available, Rob Pelinka, you better be on that phone, getting draft picks and sending anything to Chicago for him, because imagine LaVine with LeBron and AD. Oh my God! And you can also build around LaVine and AD for your future. Hell yeah, I'd take that any day of the week.
I wouldn't mind LaVine at all. Zach LaVine is an LA boy.
Yep,
and LaVine can shoot, and he is a highlight reel when it comes to dunks.
Yep, exactly.
My question for you is, before we get on to our next topic, the NBA moved the CBA deadline to next month. Do you think that you see both sides getting a deal done without having a work stoppage for basketball?
Yeah, I do, because they always get something done. So I don't think that we will have a work stoppage.
It's because I don't think the NBA will have that same lead like how MLB did last winter.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I think Adam Silver has gotten it all down, but there has just been rumors about why there could be a work stoppage because of the salary limit that I heard the owners want, and I don't think the players would be opposed to that because of the salary cap and all that. You have an upper speeding limit in the next CBA, which I'm 50-50 about.
Yeah, but I think it's going to get done. I don't see a work stoppage for sure.
But I think what I see in the new CBA is that in-season tournament, which I think is going to help bring a lot of fans together.
There's too much basketball already.
I do think the play-in is going to stay for a long time. I really love the play-in tournament. I fell in love with it since the bubble.
I hate the in-season tournament because I think that
I'm saying that I love the play-in tournament more. Because I really think this gives tanking teams an opportunity to still try to find a way to get in. That's why I like the play-in now.
Yeah.
Well, we got to talk about this name here. It's not Callan McClurg that's going to the slam dunk contest. It's an unusual addition competing in this year's NBA slam dunk contest in Salt Lake City. It's Mac McClung. He plays for the Sixers affiliate Delaware Bluecoats. He will be the first ever G Leaguer to participate in this annual event, according to Shams Charania. The high-flying 6'2" guard accepted an invitation to compete in this year's contest, which will take place on February 18th in Salt Lake City. Man, Isaiah, I can't wait for All-Star Weekend. I wish it was in a big city, but Salt Lake City, this is their time to host a All-Star game.
Well, first of all, I'm happy for Mac McClung, and I almost said Mac McClurg. I've done it a couple of times in the league. But I'm happy for him because, he's a good young player. I've watched him play. He's got good skills, and I think that he should definitely be on an NBA team. I wish the Lakers would honestly sign him because I think him and Austin Reeves really work really well.
If you talk about G League players that gotten opportunities with the Lakers, it was Caruso, it was Reeves. But boy, yep. I do miss Alex Caruso with the Lakers. I miss him dearly.
Well, hey, he's a free agent after the season, so
I hope we get him back.
Yeah, maybe we'll get him back. But I'm happy for McClung. Oh my God, I almost said McClurg again. But I am happy for him because I hope this leads to an opportunity. I hope that with his dunking, I hope that it leads to an opportunity for him to, prove himself and get a call up to the league. I think he's a good basketball player. And I think that he will help a young team. Maybe not like the Lakers or like the Bulls or the Warriors, but I think he could go to Oklahoma City, go to like the Blazers who need new young energy, and I think he can help them out. Like I think it will. I think him being in the dunk contest will help get his name out there, and I think that you will see a team call him up a bit after the dunk contest.
Oh, you're absolutely right. So, anyways, here now. Now we talk baseball, but we have to talk about this signee for the Red Sox before we get to Isaiah's Phillies. I mean, you talk about Rafael Devers on an 11-year extension with Boston. With Bogarts gone and all this, I think Chaim Bloom might have saved his job for this.
He got pressured into making that move because did you hear what Boston fans were doing when the Bruins had that were playing the Classic at Fenway Park?
Yeah, they were booing John Henry, and I don't think they like John Henry at all because they think John Henry is just too cheap now.
Yeah, they think John Henry's too cheap, and I think that John Henry, like, he got pressured into making this move. He had to make this move. I don't like if you're gonna extend someone, I would have rather you extended Mookie Betts, or you would have extended like, Xander Bogaerts, and but I like Devers, but I just don't see him as like a 1A franchise guy. I think that Bogaerts would have been the better addition, the better guy to extend, but they got pressured into making this move, no doubt, and I think for the Red Sox moving forward, now you have to build around him. We'll see what they do, but I mean, the Red Sox off season has just been really interesting thus far.
Yeah, it has been. It has been very interesting. But now we go to the Phillies. They have been owning this offseason here. They added a all-star reliever from the Detroit Tigers, Gregory Soto, in exchange for Nick Maton and Matt Vierling. But also Roger Clemens' son Cody is joining the Philadelphia Phillies in this deal. I think this is a good 2-for-2 deal for Dave Dombrowski here. And Dave Dombrowski has been making bold moves for the Phillies without blowing up the Phillies farm system.
This was a grand slam move for the Philadelphia Phillies. I think the Philadelphia Phillies, Leroy, you probably will heavily disagree with my take here, but I think the Philadelphia Phillies just punched their ticket to another NL East or to an NL East title and another World Series.
Gosh.
I think
I'm laughing at you at this because, look, this is a tough division. There's no clear favorite if you look at it.
Well, but here's the thing, though. What was the Phillies' biggest weakness last season?
Bullpen. It's their bullpen.
Exactly. It was their bullpen. We all know they have really good starting pitching. We all know that they have a really good lineup, which even got better with the addition of Trey Turner. And let's face it, Matt Vierling and Nick Maton, I like those guys a lot, but they were expendable because Nick Maton would not have played every day. And also, I think that Matt Vierling, he would not have played every day. So the Phillies traded their expendable pieces, and they got a all-star reliever who was one of the best relievers in the Tigers bullpen, who's a stud, and a lot of teams have been wanting him, and that's all you give up. Like, this was a fleece by the Phillies. The Phillies just completely fleeced the Detroit Tigers. And now you look at that bullpen, you have Craig Kimbrell leading it. You have Sir Anthony Dominguez. You have Gregory Soto, who's a powerful lefty. You have Jose Alvarado, who when he came back up from the minor leagues after he fixed his mechanics fixed. He looked like a beast. Plus you have Connor Brogdon there. Plus you added Matt Strahm, another lefty. I think this Phillies bullpen will be one of the best bullpens in all of baseball this season. And it's so deep. It's so talented. The lineup's going to be great with the addition of Trey Turner, adding him to Harper, Castellanos, Hoskins, Realmuto, Schwarber, Alec Bohm as well. And then the starting pitching. I mean, you have Nolan Wheeler at the top. You have Ranger Suarez, who came on strong light, and he's been one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball. And then you go out there and added Taijuan Walker, who was really good with the Mets. So, I mean, this Phillies team like they don't really have any weaknesses now. Their defense has been fixed. Marsh is playing center field. He's fixed your defense. The Phillies from top to bottom, they just don't really have any holes, in my opinion, and this really helped them solve and fix another hole, which was the bullpen. And I think now, in terms of the closer, I don't know who's going to close games.
I think it's Craig Kimbrell. I think it's going to be Craig Kimbrell that will close, and I think Soto will be the setup man.
I mean, that could happen. But now you have like 3 closers on your baseball team. You have Kimbrel who could close. Dominguez closed last year. Soto can close. You basically have 3 closers at the 7, 8, and 9. Like it's gonna
Or
be
Dominguez. I mean, I think Sir Anthony Dominguez is a stud.
He is.
And Alvarado's a guy that throws gas for a left-hander.
Yeah, he is, and he's going to be your middle relief, like 6th or 7th inning, most likely.
Yeah. So, anyways, folks, now we got to talk about. If you talk about the Phillies here, I know the starting rotation is still good. I think if you look at this lineup from top to bottom, Marsh I think is great defensively. I'm really excited about Bryson Stott. I think Bryson Stott is going to take a huge leap this year.
I agree with you. I think he's going to take a huge leap because he's not going to have to be the stars in that lineup. He could just stay in his role as the 8th place hitter and just produce and just get on base, get walks, work the strike zone, and then produce for the Philadelphia Phillies. Like you have from top to bottom, like you have a really loaded lineup in the Phillies. Like Trey Turner's there now. Adds a guy who doesn't strike out a lot, contact hitter, which you need, and also a guy that puts the ball in place, which you really needed this season or last season. So I think he's going to be a star, but I think Trey Turner is the guy that benefits the most because he'll be on base a lot. He'll be scoring a lot of runs. He'll have opportunities to drive in runners now. He's going to have great pitches to hit. So I really believe that this Phillies team, they're going to be one of the highest scoring teams in baseball next season.
Oh, man. I can't wait for when my Dodgers have to play them. But, Isaiah, let me tell you, expect Turner, leadoff, Harper 2 for me in the Philadelphia Phillies lineup when Rob Thompson writes down the lineup.
Well, Rob Thompson is a lucky man because he's got a lot of talent to work with. But in terms of the lineup, I actually got to disagree with you, Laurel. I think Schwarber leads off because he's the most comfortable with leading off. And I think Turner probably will be 3rd. And I think that...
Or 2nd, I mean. The reason why I have Harper 2nd, I want Schwarber 4th because I want him to be the guy that racks up the RBIs, and I want him hitting grand slams into the center field bushes in Citizens Bank Park or deep into the night.
I mean, I like the idea, but Schwarber loves hitting leadoff. So, I mean...
Somehow Kyle Schwarber loves hitting leadoff because he loves hitting those Schwarber leadoff things.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, Chardot, we'll get your question in a little bit here. Isaiah, it's been a long time coming. The Carlos Correa saga is finally over. In another turn, he has agreed on a 6-year deal worth $200 million to return to the Twin Cities to play for the Twins after backing his physicals with the Mets and the Giants. I think the Mets and the Giants should be ashamed of themselves for this.
I think that I was shocked. I thought that he was definitely going to go to the Mets because I thought Steve Cohen would do everything to keep him, but I was shocked he went back to the Twins. But it just shows you that his injury is very, very serious. And, we'll see what happens to that ankle if he can hold up. But for the Twins, I mean, they got him on a shorter deal, cheaper deal, and they got a franchise player in Carlos Correa. So it's good for them. They got it. Hopefully the injury holds up. But for the Giants and the Mets, I don't understand the moves or not making the move because this guy injuries happen or his injury happened like a long time ago. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to affect anything and re-injure it. So I mean, it's good that it's finally comes to an end, but I mean, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, but good for the Twins.
No, like I think Logan really likes it in the Twin Cities, and you know, a good compliment in the lineup to Buxton and all that. But I do think that if you look at the Twins and all that, they might need they probably will add another starting pitcher. Don't be shocked if they get Pablo Lopez, because Max Kepler might be on the trade block now that they have Joey Gallo as part of their plans in the lineup. I like Kepler, but Gallo really could be a reclamation project in Minnesota.
I think they need to trade Kepler. I think that's a guy that they definitely need to trade. They have too much outfielders. They need more pitching, and I agree with you on that.
Get Pablo Lopez. I think he would be great for the rotation for the Twins, and I think it will help them challenge the Guardians for the division title. That might close the gap on it, but Chicago, I still think Chicago is still going to be a good team. Look who they just added. They added Andrew Benintendi.
And plus, Tony La Russa is not there anymore. So, I mean,
now I think Chicago can play more loose baseball, but the manager hire was kind of questionable. And I was like, Pedro Grifol. I laughed at that hire, but I really don't know if that's going to work, but I hope it does.
Don't forget about Cleveland. Don't forget about Cleveland, too. They could also be a team in the mix.
Do you still think Chicago's still in the mix? Not the Cubs, the White Sox.
I do.
Even though that they got Benintendi, Liam Hendricks, you talk about him going through non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. You used to have him. I'm praying for his recovery.
Me too. We're all praying for his recovery here on the IM6 network. But, you know, I think it's going to be a really tough division.
You mean the Central? The American League Central is going to be a lot tougher than what you think?
Yes.
And what about Detroit? You picked them to win the division last year. Are they a couple years away from kind of closing the gap on the Guardians and the White Sox and the Twins?
I don't think they're a couple of years away. I think they could win the division next year. I think that the Tigers, the reason why they've struggled was because they got injured so much. And I think that if they stop getting injured and their young pitchers actually live up to the hype, I think they definitely could make a playoff spot next season. Because, I mean, in A.J. Hinch's first year, they actually got a higher win total. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But,
the Tigers have the talent, but they just have to stay healthy.
Yeah, they have to stay healthy.
And then the Royals, don't count them in just yet.
No, they're a few years away.
Well, Chardot wants to know this. I mean, my thoughts on Brandon Belt going to the Toronto Blue Jays. Man, the Blue Jays needed a left-handed bat. But how does this impact the Giants, Isaiah? To me, you know, the Giants are in a transition type of mode right now. Like, there's no more Buster Posey. Brandon Belt is gone. And you still have Brandon Crawford for at least one more year. Who knows how long he still wants to suit up for the Giants, because I think Brandon Crawford is going to want to finish his career there. But Brandon Belt, man, the Giants, they're not going to be as good as the Dodgers or the Padres. That's what all I could say.
It's going to be weird, honestly, seeing him in a Blue Jays uniform, because he was always a San Francisco Giant. And, you know, it's going to be so weird. It really will be. I just don't like I'm not going to be used to seeing him in a Giants uniform. I think that for the Blue Jays, they got a good player. They got a really, really good young player. Or not young player, but if Belt can stay healthy, he's going to be the DH. He doesn't have to play on the field. So he'll get a lot of opportunities. And at Fenway Park, Yankee Stadium, Baltimore's
probably should be the primary DH over Danny Jansen, because I really think Alejandro Kirk has earned the right to be the starting catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think Belt. I think you're better set having him as your DH. That way, you can minimize the risk of him getting injured.
Yeah, I think he DHs, and then I think Guerrero stays at first. I think Merrifield's at second, and then Bichette at short. But I have a feeling that when the Blue Jays traded away Gurriel and Teoscar Hernandez, I really think the Blue Jays are saving up money to pay Guerrero, pay Manoah, and pay Bichette. I think they're building their team around those three guys I mentioned.
Yeah.
That's why they traded away those guys I mentioned, Teoscar and Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my feeling there. But now we go to my Dodgers, Isaiah. Oh man, I was thinking Gavin Lux was going to be my starting shortstop, but now I think Gavin Lux is going to go to second. And look who I think is going to be our starting shortstop now, Isaiah. It's going to be Miguel Rojas, who we got from the Marlins. Needed a shortstop to replace Trey Turner, and you know what? I expect Miguel Rojas to be our everyday shortstop, but also play some third and some first and some second every now and then. But the expectation is I expect Miguel Rojas to be our starting shortstop.
You know, for me, I think this move for the Dodgers is like a gap filling move. You know, I think that they needed to get a shortstop to fill it, because you're not going to have that young rookie come in and he be the guy to play shortstop on a team competing for a championship. So I think that at the end of the day, I think this was a good move for the Dodgers. Rojas, you know, he can hit a little bit. He's a guy that plays really good defense as well. So, I mean, I think it's a good move. Last year, he only hit 236, only hit 6 home runs. The year before, 265, 9 home runs. He doesn't hit for a lot of power. So, and so that's what you're going to be missing by getting Rojas and letting Trey Turner leave. But I think that at the end of the day, I really believe that the Dodgers, you know, it's a good move for them, because you need to, for the Dodgers, you really just need to, You really just need to have a veteran be the shortstop right now, because you're trying to win. If this was a young team like Detroit, yeah, you could have the rookie, but since the Dodgers are ready to win now, you can't have a guy that is a rookie, you know, learning the majors right now.
Oh, I agree 100%. If you look at Miguel Rojas, I think he saved Kershaw's no-hitter, but what I really think was the biggest offseason move for the Dodgers, it was both getting JD Martinez and Noah Syndergaard. I'm more excited about JD Martinez because JD Martinez doesn't have to play the field. I'm excited about him being in our lineup every day as our DH.
Right.
And with Thor, I can't wait to see if he's going to revive his career, which I have a really good feeling that he will. With like Buehler out, you still have Kershaw. I still think the Dodgers are still the better team in the NL West.
It's hard to not like what the Padres are doing. I'll tell you that. I think the Padres are slowly closing the gap on the Los Angeles Dodgers right now. I think that right now, when you think about it, Nelson Cruz was a great addition. Plus, dude, it was only 1 p.m. or not 1 p.m. It was only 1 million for Nelson Cruz. So I like if Nelson Cruz can bounce back, if he can have, you know, the year that, you know, Cruz did back in before last season, then I think that the Padres, you know, they're going to have a hell of a team. And I think that they could definitely win the NL West with all the talent that they have.
But you still think the Dodgers are a playoff team still?
I do, but I think the gap is definitely closing between the Dodgers and the Padres.
I still think the Dodgers won the NL West, but I think it's going to be 1 or 2 games.
We'll see what happens, man. But for me, I think it's really close right now.
Yeah, we'll make our division picks before spring training starts. So now we talk about the A's signing Japanese flamethrower Shintaro Fujimaki to a 1-year, $3 million contract. I'll give my thoughts on it, but I'm gonna go to Isaiah here. I mean, you and Chardot both like the Oakland A's. What was your thoughts on this move?
I love it. I love it because it's a low risk, high reward move. This guy can throw up to 101. He's a flamethrower. He only has control issues, which are big because he's going to be a starting pitcher. But if the A's can help him figure it out, I mean, he could definitely be an ace. And he's Shohei Ohtani's best friend. So maybe, just maybe, Shohei could maybe come to the Oakland A's. We'll see.
I highly doubt that, Isaiah. The A's are heading in a different direction. They are relocating from Oakland, and that's why the A's are just cheap right now.
They are, but I think that for this move, I think it's a low risk, high reward. It's only for $3 million, 1 year deal. If you can get the guy's control issues fixed, you have a damn good starting pitcher right there. But if you don't, you put him in the bullpen, he could throw 101 out of the bullpen. He could be the next Aroldis Chapman. So I like this move for the A's.
Oh, yeah. This might be a good move for the A's, but I don't think the team is going to be that good. I have the A's winning. I have the A's losing over 100 games still. This is still a 100-loss ball club heading into 23.
Plus, also not to mention, with Fujinami, if he's really good, let's say like he's a great starting pitcher, he has an ERA like at 2 point something, he's dominant, or if you put him in the bullpen and he's dominant and he's one of the best relievers, you can just trade him at the deadline if your season is going really bad. So I love the move for the A's.
I can't wait for when my Dodgers play your Oakland A's this year.
Yeah.
We don't play you until like the second half of the year, and I think by that time the A's are probably gonna still suck as usual.
Yeah, probably. But
I think if you look at the roster right now, the only ones remaining since Sean Murphy got traded, Ramon Laureano. I think he goes at the deadline. I really think Nick Allen is the guy that you build your next winning ball club around.
I mean, I think you're right on that, but I mean, they just traded away Sean Murphy, and he had 3 years of arbitration left. So,
oh my gosh!
I don't know, man. I don't even know who we built around. I think the guy that we built around is not even on the majors. He might be still in the minors.
I mean, I like Nick Allen. I mean, Nick Allen is going to be a guy that's going to be
all right. He's not.
But
good.
Cole Irvin might be on the trade block.
Yes, I agree.
Because Cole Irvin has turned out to be the ace since Manaea's gone. Now Sean Manaea is back in the Bay Area, but he's now a Giant. I think he will provide stability for the Giants, Sean Manaea. But the Dodgers seem to get him on his pedestal here. But I also think that Puk is good too. But the Oakland A's are in for another 100-loss season. I could tell you that.
Yeah. I mean,
them
we'll see what
and
happens,
the Reds.
but we'll see what happens.
I'm talking about who will be 100-loss teams or above 100 losses. I think it's the A's and the Pirates and the Reds. I'm putting Colorado in that mix too for 100 losses.
Yeah, Colorado. I don't think they'll lose 100. I think they'll lose 90. But they do have some talent with Chris Bryant.
If you talk about managers on the hot seat, it's Bud Black. His seat is more warmer than Torey Lovullo is, because I think Torey Lovullo has done a really good job keeping the team intact despite their terrible 21 season with 100 losses.
Yep.
I don't think Lovullo gets fired. I think that it's more Bud Black that gets fired over Lovullo.
I disagree. I think Lovullo gets fired. I think that Arizona, I wouldn't be shocked if Mike Hazen is gone after the season, if they lose another 100 games.
We're talking about managers on the hot seat now.
Right.
I think Bud Black is on there for sure. And like you, I'm going to take that back. Torey Lovullo's on there, even though I feel like that he's done a good job with this roster, despite that bad 21 season, which I didn't think this was entirely his fault. But I have to think that it might be time for a change in Arizona for a new manager next season. Not this season, but potentially next season we might see a new manager in the desert.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I think Lavello might have ran his course. Why do you think Lavello might get fired?
Well, because I think that with Lavello, I think it's time. I think he just ran his course, and I really believe that they're gonna need to scapegoat someone if they lose another 100 games or finish in last place.
They had a better season last season, but the Arizona Diamondbacks, to me, they're still. The bottom line is they're not good. They're still not really good. They got a good. I like the young team that they have, like Corbin Carroll. They have guys like Jake McCarthy, who I think is a great player. Ketel Marte is good, but I think Marte might have to be on the trade block come the deadline, and I think the Diamondbacks are still going to rebuild.
Yes.
Like they did with Peralta. They moved him so that they get more prospects in return. So I'm telling you, the Diamondbacks, they have a bright future with the players that they have, but all you're saying is that Lavello and Hazen might be gone after the season.
Yeah, I think that they could be gone after the season because it's not going to be a good look if you don't fire them if they lose another 100+ games.
And then Bud Black definitely is on there for sure.
For sure.
Because I don't think he's done anything much in Colorado. That pitching staff looks terrible, except for Marquez and Freeland, who I think are their top two pitchers in the rotation. I like Blackman and Cron, but at the same time, it's still not a good team in the Mile High.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do think I think it'll be time for a new manager for both Arizona and Colorado next season. I also think who's also on the hot seat is Mark Kotsay.
Yep.
And I think Mark Kotsay is probably going to get the boot. Don't be shocked if he's fired mid-season.
Yeah, I agree.
Who else do you think's on the hot seat for when it comes to managers?
I can't really think of anymore.
Dave Martinez. Got to put him on there.
Yeah, I agree.
And also Derek Shelton of the Pirates.
Yep.
Yeah, that's who I'm putting on there, but there'll be more hot seat lists when more of the season gets closer. But now we got to talk about a reunion that we didn't see coming. You used to have him with the Phillies. I wanted my Dodgers to get him because of how good of a hitter he is. And that's Andrew McCutchen going back home to the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know what? Andrew McCutchen, I think, is going to be a great mentor to this young team. Look, you got Brian Reynolds, but Brian Reynolds is pretty much asking for a trade, which I really could see happening, even though, the Dodgers and the Yankees are still involved in the Brian Reynolds trade sweepstakes. But Isaiah, don't be shocked if Brian Reynolds gets traded to the Rangers.
Ooh, okay.
Because you know why? He might have known Bruce Bochy with the Giants.
Yes, he did.
And man, wouldn't Brian Reynolds love to play for Boch in this new look ball club down in Arlington?
Yep, I agree with that. I think that for Bruce Bochy, he needs a left field or he needs another outfielder. I think they're set with the center fielder and right, but I think they need another left field. And if you
Reynolds can play center field, that also could bump Adolis Garcia to right field.
Yeah.
Because basically, if you look at the Brian Reynolds trade asking price and what you want in that package, the Pirates are going to ask for a Juan Soto type return.
Yep.
Man, that's expensive.
It is.
But will the Rangers do it?
No.
But if you have to choose where Brian Reynolds goes, where does he end up? The Dodgers have the prospect to do it, but I think it should be the Mariners.
I'm gonna go with the Yankees. I think they.
Why do you go with the New York Yankees for Brian Reynolds?
Well, because I think they promised Aaron Judge that they'll make big moves to try to shore up that team and try to get that team to a World Series championship contending team. And they need to live up to their promise. They went and got Rodon, and now you need another bat. And I think Brian Reynolds there, trade the farm. You're a team that's trying to win a World Series.
Here's what I would do if I were the Yankees to get Brian Reynolds. I'm including Aaron Hicks in that deal because that deal makes sense. That's going to be more of a salary dump, but I do think that you're going to include one pitching prospect and one outfield prospect in that deal.
I don't think Aaron Hicks himself gets it done. I think if the Pirates and Yanks make that deal, I believe that Brian Reynolds will go to the Yanks and the Pirates will probably get the Yankees number 1 and number 2 prospects.
And what about Aaron Hicks too? Do they get him and do they get IKF or Gleyber?
Most likely Gleyber because he's young.
Yeah, I think they're going to want a current player on a roster. Like I could really see Gleyber Torres be packaged in that deal.
We'll see what happens.
Talk about it. Fresh start for Gleyber Torres, and you build your infield around O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz, I think, is going to be a stud.
Agreed.
So, with McCutchen, what do you think he is going to bring for the Pirates? I know he is very familiar with Pittsburgh and all that. And Andrew McCutchen, I really think this is good for him to be back to his baseball home. I didn't think he wanted to leave Pittsburgh, but you know what? I could see him playing left field with Carlos Santana being the DH.
I think that for McCutchen, I think he's going to retire after this season. I think it's just a way to wrap up his career. And I think that with Andrew McCutchen, I really believe that, this guy, he's one of the best talents that has ever played the game of baseball, one of the best outfielders that has ever played the game. And he's going to be a good mentor to these Pittsburgh Pirates. But I don't think the Pirates are really going to do much winning this season. I mean, they got Carlos Santana, they got Rich Hill, but I could see those guys all being traded at the deadline if the Pirates season has been tanked.
Talk about the outfield for the Pirates. Brian Reynolds right now is in center field. In right field would be Connor Joe, and then McCutchen in left with Andujar as a fourth outfielder.
It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. That's what I'll say about that.
But really, I really think Andrew McCutchen is going to tutor O'Neal Cruz because you know what? He's going to say this to O'Neal Cruz. Hey, you are going to be the new face. You're going to be the face of that franchise.
Well, I also think that this is a move just to sell tickets, to be honest. I think that with McCutchen coming back, it'll draw more fans
Absolutely. Sure. It would. Yeah. But if you talk about what the Pirates did this offseason, they got Carlos Santana to be their DH. I really think that's a good move for them. G-Man Choi, who they got from the Rays, man, I think he's going to be a great addition to that team.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on O'Neal Cruz? Is he really the next face of that franchise for the Pirates?
I think he's a scrub, to be honest with you.
What do you mean by scrub, but for O'Neal Cruz?
I don't think he's that good. I think he's just putting up numbers on a team that's, losing.
Brian Hayes is really their franchise guy. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because Brian Hayes is a guy that is good hitting it gap to gap, and I really think he's a guy that is going to get better. They also got Austin Hedges, which is, I don't think, doesn't do much for their catching position, but their pitching is really not that good, with the exception for David Bednar. Hey, if the Yankees trade for Brian Reynolds, hey, they got to get David Bednar too.
That'll be too much, though. You would have to give him your 1, 2, and 3 and 4.
No, the reason why I say that is because Bednar is the closer, and he put up all-star type numbers for the Pirates last season. And I think if the Pirates were to trade him, a contending team would like to have David Bednar.
Yeah, but I think it would be too much for both Reynolds.
You know what? I take that back. I think David Bednar is actually the ace of that pitching staff, but out of the bullpen though.
Yeah.
But I don't see a true ace in that rotation for the Pirates. But Brubaker's a guy that's just iffy. So McCutchen, I think, is going to be good. But we got to talk about Johnny Cueto and what does this mean for the Miami Marlins? Now that you have Johnny Cueto, what does this mean for Pablo Lopez?
Well, first of all, I think that this is a move for the Marlins to get fans into the stands. And also, I mean, I think this is a move for Johnny Cueto to be closer to his home. I think that, him pitching for the Marlins close to the Dominican Republic. So it really helps there. But, I mean, he's won a championship already. So it's not like that he's a guy that, comes in and, he needs to win. So he just wants the money. He wants to be close to home. I think this is what this is. And for the Marlins, I mean, you get a guy, a veteran in Cueto who's won a World Series to anchor your to help mentor like the Luzardos, Sandy Alcantara, and like those guys. I was kind of shocked actually when Cueto signed with the Marlins. I thought he would go to a contender, but he signed with the Marlins. And I mean, I just think he's going to be a mentor there, and he's going to be close to home.
Yeah, and I don't think he's a guy that teams target at the deadline, but I'm looking at the rotation right now.
They could.
You talk about Sixto Sanchez. I'm very excited about Sixto Sanchez and what he brings. He throws flat-out gas.
He does.
And you got the reigning Cy Young winner. That's Alcantara, who I think is going to have another great year. But if you talk about the Marlins rotation right now, it's Alcantara, Lopez, Cueto, Luzardo, and then to round out the rotation, it would be Trevor Rogers. But someone's got to be the odd man out because you're going to have to make room for Sixto Sanchez.
Yeah. I mean, he's had shoulder issues, though. That's the thing that's been, like, bugging him.
Or do you put Sanchez in the bullpen and maybe you make him the closer?
Ooh, that's tough. I think
Because he can throw gas, too.
I think the Marlins honestly trade one of their pitchers for a top bat. I think that's what they do.
And do you think Pablo Lopez gets dealt?
No, I think Luzardo gets traded. I think he's a guy that, you get a lot of value for. You get a bigger bat for Luzardo.
That's a good move right there. That way you keep Trevor Rogers in the rotation. Yep. You still make room for Sixto Sanchez, but you still keep Pablo Lopez around.
Plus you have Cueto as well. Remember that.
Yeah, and the Marlins, I think they're a team that is ahead of Washington when it comes to the rebuild and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
But we have to talk about this debate for the Marlins. Who starts at short? I'm going to go with Segura at short, and then I keep Joey Wendell at third. That's what I do. That's what I'll do when I get MLB The Show 23 when I set up the Marlins defensive alignment.
I would go with Adeiny Echeverria. I think he's a really good defensive shortstop. I think he's a guy that he's not the greatest. Isn't Adeiny Echeverria still on the Marlins?
No, he's not. I'm putting Segura at short, Wendell at third because I expect Jazz Chisholm to play second.
I don't know for the Marlins, to be honest. I think Segura should probably play short, I guess.
But the Marlins plan on having him at third, but I don't think that makes sense to me.
That doesn't make sense. I agree with your thought.
He's more of a shortstop or a second baseman. Wendell should be starting at third, and then Garrett Cooper should start at first so that you plug in another outfielder to join Garcia, so that the outfield could be Avi Garcia, Jesus Sanchez, and Jorge Soler. But my question is, who's the DH going to be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know.
Like, I think Soler should be the DH, but I'm also thinking that the Marlins can plug in a young outfielder to play left field so that Soler could just DH.
Soler.
Yeah, or maybe the outfield of Soler and Avi and Jesus Sanchez, and then the Marlins, I think they can go use the free agent market for another DH.
Yeah, probably.
Anyways, folks, it's been a great show, Isaiah. Great first Sports Weekly back here. Some announcements for you. On Tuesday, we have another episode of The Extra Point. We have a recap for you of Wild Card Weekend, divisional round week preview coming up, but we also might have some head coaching news that could be in development at that time. My final thoughts, it's been a great show, Isaiah, and we have a lot of good upcoming future programs coming up here. Batter Up we're gonna have a special Batter Up episode the following week, Isaiah, on the 24th. You know why? Because that is when we will find out of the modern era finalists, and we have to recap who is going to be headed to Cooperstown for the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's on the 24th, and be excited for that because that's going to be the Cooperstown reaction show.
My final thoughts is it was a great first show, first Sports Weekly of the new year. So that's outstanding. But great show. I'm hoping the tickets for tomorrow's Niners Seahawks game drops down to somewhere between 50. Because if it happens, you bet you I'm going to the game. So, and I don't care about getting wet. I'm there because I want revenge on those damn sea chickens. But man, playoffs start tomorrow. Niners Seahawks to kick it off. Revenge is coming tomorrow on those Seahawks, and I can't wait, man. It's going to be a fun NFL playoffs. It's going to be a fun road to the Super Bowl, and you're right. We got a lot of coaching news coming up. A lot of maybe Sean Payton gets hired. Maybe Harbaugh comes back. Who knows? Maybe David Shaw comes to the NFL finally. But stay tuned to our programs. We got a lot of stuff going on. Baseball's almost here. Baseball's here next month. I mean, spring training starts next month. So and the
World Baseball Classic starts too.
Exactly, and the NBA trade deadline is a month away. So a lot of stuff. It's an exciting time of the year, and I'm just hoping the tickets are cheap tomorrow so I can go to that game. It'll be an amazing atmosphere at Levi's.
Anyways, for Isaiah Leung, this is Loro signing off for now. Have a great night, and we'll see you again on The Extra Point on Tuesday.
But I said, if you gave me Mahomes, if you gave me Lamar Jackson with his great legs and Mahomes' great arm, or you gave me Baker Mayfield, who would I want? I would want Baker Mayfield, and the reason why is because Baker Mayfield.
I really think that now this is the worst case scenario for the San Francisco 49ers is that they're going to have to cut ties with Jimmy Garoppolo if I were them. What? Oh my God! Whoa, man!
In any event, Kyle Gibson is definitely my NL Cy Young Award winner. Rock on, Gibson.
And even no way! Oh my God!